So, good morning, Breiffni. Thank you for joining us today for today's career conversation. Really excited to hear some of your real experiences and insights, just from your career in audit and accounting. And just to start us off, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then a little bit about your career as well? And then, of course, we'll go into a conversation and hear some of your insights on our profession.
Yeah, Nancy, thank you for inviting me today. So for everybody, my name is Breiffni O'Donnell. Again, that's Breiffni. Unfortunately, we can't do the subtitles on this podcast, so bear with my accent. But I'm a chartered accountant. I qualified in audit, but after I got my qualification, I moved into a career in sales and business development. So I worked with Propylon and opened up their New York offices and their expansion. And I moved to other companies selling enterprise software, typically around fintech and legal tech, before returning to Propylon. And we were subsequently acquired by RWS 3 years ago now. So it's been a journey, but my foundation, Nancy, was in audit and accounting. And I did the exams and qualified. And then I threw it all away to work in business development.
Into sales, yep. So yeah. Just curious, what first drew you into a career in audit and accounting? What benefits did you see for even exploring a career in auditing and accounting?
Yeah, so I did a commerce degree in Galway in Ireland. And to be honest, Nancy, at the start, I didn't like accounting modules and audit modules in the course. Yes. Yeah. But I actually did a summer experience when I was in university where I was implementing a CRM system integration with an accounting system. And that really opened up my eyes to, okay, it's not just counting numbers, it's like analyzing data to drive business decisions. And that really got me going. We were recording product and sales and revenue in the system and building dashboards for leadership. So that really opened up my eyes. So then I became obsessed, I would say. And yeah, I qualified with Chartered Accountants Ireland. I did the exams. So that's what drew me into audit and accounting.
Awesome. And so curious again, right? Because now you're in sales and business development. So how do you connect the two, right? So what parts of your early experiences in accounting and auditing have shaped where you are today? How do you connect the two?
Yeah, that's a very good question. What I will say about the accounting profession is the business learnings that you get from working in practice are invaluable. So I worked as an auditor 3 years in a firm in Dublin in Ireland called Hogan Associates. And in that, during my auditing experience, I was getting a lot of experience working with different companies, different business models, seeing how they operated, auditing their revenue. You got insights into their products. So what I would say is in the audit and accounting career, you get a vast amount of exposure into different businesses working in practice. And you get exposure talking and dealing with high-level executives and finance teams and how to deal with executives, how to present yourself as well. So I think that was a big learning experience in my work. Yeah.
Awesome. And looking back as well, what was that big turning point that you had, the shift in your career? What was the big moment that changed your trajectory?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, I worked with Hogan and Associates. I was working with high tech companies who are getting finance from VCs, and I was working on business models and projections and go-to-market plans, and I was very excited by business development. And I always told my partners, Hugh O'Neill and Paul McKeown, that I wanted to live in New York. And unfortunately, they didn't have a practice in New York, so I handed, because they promised they'd get me to New York in 2 years. And 30 minutes later, my boss, Paul, called me in and he said, how would you like to go to New York in 6 months? He had invested in a company. He was the chairman. They were expanding into the US and opening up a new division. And that was, I think, the biggest game changer in my career. Was that kind of changed my career.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Breiffni. And now just shifting a little bit to accounting and audit, right? I just wanted to get your insights in terms of what are the biggest misconceptions that you hear about careers in audit and accounting, and also just share a little bit about what value do you see with our profession. And of course you mentioned a few of it, but it'll be good to just speak to it, just in terms of how the profession as a whole.
Yeah, things that we often hear is that accounting is boring, and that we're boring people. I think accountants that I've met are some of the most
we're exciting people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I think in accounting, that foundation, I think 1 in 4 of the FTSE 500 companies, for example, of the CEOs, they came from accounting. So that foundation that develops you, it doesn't just put you into a box punching numbers every day. You become a trusted advisor to a CEO. And I think Chartered Accountants Ireland do a great job in the way they structure their course with the core subject that we used to do. I'm not sure if they still do it, but it prepared you not only for your kind of core auditing skills, but that business level kind of strategic thinking as well, which I think personally, Nancy, is the equivalent of a master's, to be honest. It's really powerful.
Awesome. That's good. Very good insights there. And again, just going back to your current role, I'm curious, what does a day in the life of Breiffni look like, for particularly in the sales and business development space? And if you can highlight any areas as well that touch a little bit to what you've learned as an accountant / auditor.
Yeah, so for context for the people on the call, at Propylon, so we create solutions for audit and accounting firms globally. And they're content management systems that are specifically designed for audit and accounting and tax. So I think it's nearly 8 of the top 20 audit and accounting firms now use our platform to keep their firm policies, methodologies, templates, and guidance up to date across multiple jurisdictions in multiple languages, and keeping them up to date with standards. So, and now the integration of AI as well, it gives the ground source of truth to AI models so that answers are grounded in approved firm policy and guidance. So that's the context. And we also work with regulators who draft their standards and regulations in our platform as well to produce it in digital formats. But really, a day in my life is I'm talking to firms daily about projects to optimize their staff. So enabling them to find their guidance quicker, to improve service quality, to identify business opportunities. But essentially, it's bringing that experience of being an auditor and an accountant, being able to speak the language, being able to work on a business case with them to demonstrate value to business leaders. So, it is sales and business development, but I see it like a consultative role, I would say.
Yeah. Nice, Breiffni. And you touched upon an important aspect, obviously, that's very topical, which is AI. So
yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the types of AI initiatives for your applications, if you can? And what are you focused on right now when it comes to AI and these platforms?
Yeah, so the potential of AI is amazing. It's opened up my skeptical eyes to the use cases and potential. But essentially what we see often is that firms have a lot of knowledge assets in their SharePoint. Very difficult to find, organize, and sort. And a big challenge in AI adoption these days is how do you ensure your data and underlying content that drives the AI is accurate and up to date. And firms struggle with keeping those templates current and assigning ownership to them and controlling how the AI interprets the guidance and regulations. So the use cases we've been working on, Nancy, are with our platform. We have out-of-the-box APIs that can integrate with AI language models. So one tool that we've launched this year is AI search bot that refers to external standards, regulations, as well as internal firm guidance materials. So it's kind of like a search agent. So that's one project that we're working on. We're now working on agentic AI, and this is really cool. Basically, in the national practice or knowledge teams of audit and accounting firms, they can assign agentic AI to perform tasks. Like, for example, monitor firm policies, see those that are not updated for regulations or standards, which of those are contradictory of each other. So using agentic AI then to identify gaps potentially in standards and regulations. Where do we not cover ourselves? So there's just two use cases that we've been working on that are very relevant, I would say. We also get it to draft policies for the first draft for people and to translate content, but there's always human in the loop, obviously. So yeah.
Awesome. Very, very exciting. I know the world of AI there's a lot going on right now. Thanks for sharing. And, one aspect that comes with that is regulation. I think you alluded to it a little bit. What more do you think that regulators could be doing to support innovation, with the likes of AI, while still just protecting quality and compliance? So how, just adopting AI responsibly, what can regulators do to support that?
Yeah, at the start, I was actually quite nervous because we're auditors, we're accountants, we're quite skeptic by nature and taught to be skeptical. And standards and regulatory bodies have surprised me a little bit on both sides of the waters. They're open to adopting AI technologies. Like even recently in the last quarter, the FRC in UK and Ireland, Mark Babington released a lot of guidance and examples of how to apply AI technologies in a controlled and safe manner. So the first thing I would have for standards bodies is they need to create those that guidance of approved use cases, examples, and documentation requirements. So that'll be the first one. The second one is training of auditors. So instead of us knowing how to reconcile the bank account in great detail, we still need those fundamentals, right? How do we balance getting the fundamentals, but understanding, weaknesses between AI and models so that you can identify potential errors, understanding how hallucinations happen, understanding how the AI models get their answers. So I think the second component is training. And then the third one, Nancy, you might think I'm a little crazy on this one. So I think we need to start thinking about creating standards or rules and procedures for AI language models. You may have you heard of the vending machine kind of simulation for AI recently?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, so essentially this simulation is to test AI language models and their capabilities to act independently. And recently a Claude release. So basically the agent has to maximize profits on a vending machine. They're given $1,000. And in the past they've either lost money or, lost business because they weren't that efficient. In a recent example, the vending machine made $6,000 and it surprised everybody. But when they dug deeper, the agent had made that money by withholding fees to customers and even trying to set prices that fixed the pricing in the market. So the agentic AI now with Claude, they can act independently. Wow. So in terms of the audit kind of perspective, we need to have the guardrails in place to direct the AI language models because they don't know the concept of materiality or they don't have professional judgment. And to kind of finish on that story, I think I read this, but I'm pretty sure this is true, but it got so annoyed that it was overcharged $2 a day on something that it wrote it and drafted a letter for the FBI
Oh,
to
wow.
file a complaint on
Wow.
financial crimes.
Wow.
Yeah, and so the
Amazing.
agentic AI is going above and beyond the
Yeah.
initial directions or
Yeah.
prompts that they're given, that they
Yeah.
need to be given the guardrails to understand,
Yeah.
okay,
I
in
agree.
this scenario, I must not
Exactly.
overextend myself.
I agree. I agree with the guardrails. They definitely needed. And I think you drew upon a debate that currently out there, right? AI is going to replace auditors, right? And so my question for you is, what skills or mindsets will define the next generation of auditors in your opinion, right? If you could pick 2 or 3 top skills just to foster that coexistence between AI and auditors.
Yeah, skills, I think, being able to understand prompt engineering for AI language models, because different prompts will give you different results, to the extent that firms are creating libraries of prompts that are approved to give accurate results. So understanding how to identify hallucinations or to test the logic on how AI languages get their information is key. And I think audit encounters just need to roll up their sleeves and start using it in safe environments, getting familiar with it. Just like you and I, when we were doing our training, we learned through getting audits and getting into the weeds. So I think that's
get on the boat, one of those, get on the boat or get left behind, right? That's what they say.
exactly.
So awesome. Thank you. And then now just a question from a leadership standpoint, right? And your role as well. How do you help teams that you work with navigate change, right? Technology is it's coming fast, right?
Yeah.
Expectations are constantly shifting, like you mentioned, AI is also shifting and becoming more sophisticated. So how do you help teams navigate that change?
Yeah, I think with AI now, sometimes I have evenings when I go home and I think, what is my job going to be in the next 2 to 3 years? And what I do see is there's a lot of hype and everyone is jumping to try to use AI in use cases and build applications. And right now it's amazing. Like I could probably build a CRM system myself with a few hours with the latest version of Claude. But I think the biggest thing for people and staff is focus on what delivers business value. Don't try to boil the ocean. Tie back projects to real business value that can be applied gradually. Because if you try to overextend yourself and try to build something that's too complex with the AI, it's very difficult to ensure that it's, in terms of a quality perspective, that it works. So I think keeping it narrow and focused in on use cases that can demonstrate wins to leadership is key, and continuously learning and using it. I just think people need to get using it.
That's it. Thanks, Breiffni. Thank you. Thank you. And then just to end off, before we wrap up, sorry, and let's just end off with something light. Can you share one interesting fact about you that people may not know?
One interesting fact. I'm an auditor. No, I joke. Yeah, so in my part-time, I actually play the fiddle. So every Thursday,
nice.
I play a gig with friends, and that's the way I switch off. So yeah, no, absolutely.
Awesome. Accountants aren't boring, right? So that's awesome. Awesome. And then what's one piece of career advice you wish you had earlier?
Ooh, that's a good one. Can I give 2?
Yep, 2. 2 is fine.
Okay. First, I always say that, don't be scared in dealing with senior executives. At the end of the day, they're human. They don't know everything. And when you're a junior or going into those situations, be human to them, and don't be afraid to be assertive and show your human side as well.
Yep.
The second one then is advice that I wish I was given was, when I moved to New York, I was working on projects, and it wasn't a forte of mine, but always to work I got this advice maybe 2 or 3 years in from my boss, who John Harrington. He said, start with a plan, but break it down into milestones and daily activities that get you to each of those milestones, and always be reviewing that on a daily basis to iteratively improving that on a daily basis, so that those big long-term goals, break it down into milestones, break it down further, so that you can actually have a plan and a path to it.
Yeah, I like that. I like that, because those end goals sometimes are very intimidating, right? So I like that, breaking it all down. Eventually you'll get there. Eventually you'll get there.
Yes.
And then the
yes.
last question is, can you share one habit or routine that's helped you succeed?
That is a good question. I would say people are gonna laugh at this, and I used to hate people that used to say this, is that people who get up early in the morning, 5 a.m., 4 a.m., this kind of stuff. I don't believe in that extreme, but I do believe in a good start to the day. Is like getting up and going to the gym. I feel helps me feel good and clears my head. So that's a routine or habit that I think on a daily basis, or even just walking the dog when I don't go to the gym. Just getting something in the morning to get the brain flowing, so that I'm not just jumping straight into it.
It works for you. That's the important thing, right? So starting out your day with something that calms you. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing, Breiffni. Really enjoyed all your insights on, yourself, your career in AI. So thank you very much. And looking forward to talking to you again and hearing all the exciting stuff that's building up in the AI space. Thank you.
No, thank you, Nancy, and look forward to maybe we'll meet in Indianapolis.
Yep, Indianapolis. That's it. Thanks, Breiffni.
Okay. Have a nice day.
You too.